but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember. We are not afraid!
No fear, no fear, no fear today here on Declare Your Independence. One. Gotta sync up the video. That's for Sierra. Okay, now let me tell you what we're going to do today. In the second hour, I think, let me make sure positively, absolutely, I've been busy. It is, John Perkins. John Perkins, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. And John and I have become friends over the years, and it's because I see and I feel an increased understanding from his perspective of, the evil that he was part of over the years, that he would go around and do the, your brains or your signature on this piece of paper and how we're going to indebt your third world country because we can. That's basically what he was doing. And now that we have what's going on in the Middle East is just backlash, blowback, as Dr. Paul would say, and the CIA. Blowback. Middle East is erupting everywhere. We have been working very hard populating an explosion of information going into the Arabic world, and it looks like it's possible we may be able to pull the trigger tonight or tomorrow. And we're just getting, I'm just waiting on the couple little tweaks to be done and on the books coming from Cato with the translation of the Declaration of Independence. Because this is, and the Bill of Rights, this is important stuff. What I'm going to do in the second segment, Chris Bliss of mybillofrights.org, and we've had him on the show before. We had him recently in the last week or two. He is a very talented comedian and a talented juggler. Let me tell you how talented he is. David Letterman used to open for Michael Jackson to get the crowd all up and going. The boy's got some skills. Well, we've talked about him before, and I'll let you see how this all dovetails on what we're going to do into this in the second segment. Chris Bliss asked me to read the preamble and the Bill of Rights for a video project that he's doing on his site, mybillofrights.org. Now, where this came from, Charles Goyette and I worked a great deal with him. Charles and he are good friends, and we became good friends. And what he had done is, in his comedy routine, he would say about all this 10th Amendment monuments on state legislative grounds and all in front of the courthouse and all that kind of stuff. Everybody's all up in arms about it. And a lot of those were part of a publicity campaign for the 10 Commandments. That was the big Cecil B. DeMille movie. I think that's who did it, back in the day. In, what was that? The 50s or something, where Charlton Heston. So the 10 Commandments, of course, we made a monument and they get a lot of press and big deal, and we're going to put it here in front of the legislature. And of course, they're going to say no. So, a different time, a different era. Well, the big to-do over the years was you can't have the 10 Commandments of this particular religion on state grounds. Good argument. Well, even though he's a progressive and kind of, left-leaning individual, he proudly calls himself a progressive. He said, what's the big deal? As long as you got the Bill of Rights next to it, kind of, there would be no establishment of a religion, it's all good. What he found out, though, and a lot of people were reminding him of the fact that there wasn't a single Bill of Rights monument in the entire country on any government grounds. Not in Washington. Not in front of the Supreme Court, not in front of any of the legislatures of the states. So he's like, are you freaking kidding me? So he started this project. He got the, went all government on us. He got the 501c3s and all that kind of stuff. And he started mybillofrights.org. And he started collecting money for having a privately funded, this is the influence that we had on him, having a privately funded monument to the Bill of Rights put in front of the legislatures of every state. Sounds like a good idea. You think they'd jump all over it. As you go through this, it all depends on who's in control of the legislature, who sits in the governor's office, who's introducing the bill, who's going to get credit, how's this, politics. This was going to happen. So he and I, back in the day, I said, you're going to have to approach it this way, make sure that you got, the PR lined up in this way, and blah, blah, blah. Well, he thought, oh, no, this is not going to be a problem. I go, you watch. Yep, here's the problem. And who was big opposition, wanting to make sure this gets done right? Mr. Russell Pierce. Can't have any Democrats on it, So this eventually went through, got passed. We had big fundraisers at the Improv here in Tempe. We had a lot of fundraising, a lot of attention. Air America got involved in it. The radio talk shows that we had on Air America affiliates here, and we had the conservatives started getting on it, and we had Karen Johnson was one of the sponsors of the bill along with the Democrat. They had to get that Democrat off there and do striker bills and everything, just playing politics with the Bill of Rights. Eventually it was passed. Now they have it in Arizona. They have approved big, nice plaza devoted to this thing in Texas. And there are other states coming online. Well, they just selected, and it's going to go around where Arizona's Vietnam Memorial is, where they're going to be putting large stones to each amendment. It'll be a nice little walkway. Or big walkway. It's big, giant monuments to each amendment. So I'm going, cool. This is working out. Well, he asked me, as part of the video project, for me to read the Bill of Rights and the preamble to it. A lot of people don't know that there was a preamble. The concept was, when they did the Bill of Rights, it was as a compromise with the anti-federalist. There were a lot of people. We just fought getting rid of a central plan for us from England, and they're going to create the Constitution, have another central authority from the swamps in Maryland, Washington, D.C. there. So this is a big Hamilton thing. They wanted to be able to have a national bank. It always comes down to the bankers and the money. So they, in secret, that's why, it's got to be secret meetings and so on. Some states, their delegations left. We know what you're doing. Patrick Henry's I smell a rat. This is governor of Virginia. Give me liberty, give me death guy. He goes, yeah, I know where this is going. Payne was against it. Jefferson was in France. They did their best to conceal what was going on. When they completed this structure, this infrastructure for a new government, it gave them the power to tax, the power of eminent domain to take your land. Wow. For government use, though, for public, for the collective. Well, it's okay then. and the ability to regulate commerce and others. But from people that had just fought a Revolutionary War, they're going, if I was king, what else would I need? Damn. So they, it was after the adoption. The states definitely made it clear, their legislatures, we're going to need to fix this thing. So they went ahead and did the Bill of Rights. It was the first set of amendments to the Constitution. It was the 10 thou shalt nots of government. Thou shalt not do a bunch of things. I think there were a couple others. There may have been 12 or 13 amendments, and the 10 that met the criteria by getting enough support to be ratified that were done. Later, they would add some more and so on that they missed in the first round and so on. But the main concept was the individual was totally left out of the Constitution. The individual was expected to pay taxes for the collective. The individual was expected to be part of the main government, which they had a plan for us. And we had the separation of powers. Well, what happens when the executive, legislative, and judicial lines up against the rights of the individual? Then what happens? You're in a free speech zone. That's what happens. We'll talk about it, and I'll do the reading when we come back.